How's it going, everybody? This is Novakast back with another video for you guys. And with this one, we're looking at another video from Internet Anarchist. And this is the deserved downfall of LinusTechTips. So this should be interesting. So let's go ahead and look at it. I don't know who LinusTechTips is, but we'll see.
From becoming the #1 tech channel on YouTube, building a $100 million empire, all the
Okay.
way to losing over 200,000 subscribers in under a week, it's safe to say that LinusTechTips is a definition of what goes up must come down. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be discussing the events surrounding LinusTechTips that completely destroyed his reputation, credibility, and trust within the broader tech community. But to fully understand the extent of the aftermath, we first need to briefly look into what made LinusTechTips so successful to begin with. In his 15 years on YouTube, Linus Gabriel Sebastian, who we'll be referring to as simply Linus, crafted a unique video formula and reputation that keeps viewers coming back and separates him from other tech channels on the platform. Although technical by nature, the videos that Linus and his team creates always have a laid-back vibe while also being informative and entertaining. The fact people witness them grow from a handful of employees all the way to managing over 100 talented individuals only further added to their credibility. Whether they were building six-figure PCs or testing obscure high-end computer components, their audience always knew they'd be getting an entertaining, insightful, and factual viewing experience, something that the LinusTechTips team is very proud of.
How many of you have seen a review of a component from LTT? You know, like a graphics card or a CPU? Folks, yeah? This is where it happens. The difference between us and somebody like Nexus or Hardware Unboxed is we test new components, new tests every time. Every project that we do has new data.
That clip you just watched was from a lab tour during an annual Linus Tech Expo. The full video was published by Smurf Gaming on the 29th of July 2023. Whilst the tour itself was generally received positively, some took issue with the condescending comments directed at fellow tech channels, Hardware Unboxed and Gamers Nexus. It was one thing to make claims about the accuracy of their own tests, but it's an entirely different story when you suggest that other competing channels are lagging behind. By the 3rd of August 2023, Hardware Unboxed would release a series of tweets to express his disappointment at the comments made by the LinusTechTips employee. LTT Labs taking shots. I've rerun more benchmarks than Linus has spent money on testing equipment and staff. If you have to tell everyone how good your testing is, in my 20+ years of experience, that generally means your testing isn't very good. Your work speaks for itself, guys. That's how you build credibility. I should note that both Linus and Luke have been good to us, and they're great guys. This is just very disappointing from a LinusTechTips employee. Friction over Tim's initial offhand comment could have been resolved with a little introspection and humility, but unfortunately, that was the opposite of what Linus did, as his statement on the WAN podcast would only escalate matters.
Summary for the people who aren't aware, someone who was here for a tour prior to LTX uploaded a video of their tour, which included Tim from our labs team, who had been asked several times throughout the day about how our testing is different from our peers in the industry like Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unboxed. He therefore proactively in this tour, which was later in the day, made a direct comparison to them when talking about how we run our tests every time we do a new video. And the reason for this is, you know, if there's a new software update or a new driver that's in play, we always recollect our data for new projects. Unfortunately, the way that he presented it was not particularly tactful, and I can see how, while he was simply stating a fact, it could have...
I'm stating a fact. I mean, I kind of get why. I mean, to an extent, for the other tech channels, I see why they're upset. And honestly, this statement, like him trying to say, it wasn't tactful, although factual. It's like, dude, you're that's not very tactful either, dude. Like claiming that your tests are what you guys are saying is completely factual. It's like, no, it's not.
Have been interpreted the wrong way. Hardware Unboxed in particular responded to this situation saying that they seemed, I won't say they said they were, I read all the tweets, but they said I will say they seemed pretty upset. However, they also acknowledged that they do not, in fact, run new data for every project. So, strictly speaking, what Tim said was not true, but we don't want to be talking about it the way that we did. I don't think we should ever make a comparison that is, you know, a good thing we do compared to those other guys. If anything, we should be trying to build each other up. Yeah, we respect Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unboxed a lot, which were the two particular outlets that were referenced by Tim. But with that said, you know, obviously, it's not like we aren't aware of what they're doing, and Obviously, our goal internally is to try to take whatever bar has been set by our peers in the industry and try to do as good or better.
As it kind of is for everybody.
Yeah, so back to Tim's wording. I didn't hire him to be a PR representative, which is good, because clearly that's not where his experience is. I hired him to work on mechanical engineering and other engineering tasks as well.
Linus would go on to make various claims about his commitment and care for the tech community, such as being willing to burn bridges with large brands like Nvidia over honest reviews, coupled with holding conferences for smaller creators in the niche.
We spent over $150,000 US to fly tech creators from around the world to network with each other and to engage with the community.
Okay.
Obviously, for us, they are part of the attraction of the show. But at that cost, that is not even close to a break-even proposition for us. Not even close. We don't even ask them to do anything. I don't know. My battle lines are clearly drawn. We are on the side of the consumer. We are working together to hold manufacturers accountable, and friendly competition between media outlets, that is good.
His statement on being pro-consumer sounds incredibly fake when you take into account Linus' anti-consumer behavior from back in August of 2022, after he was reluctant to give consumers a warranty on their $250 tech bags due to financial cost, even going so as far to mocking his community when they raised their concerns. My point is that lifetime warranty or any warranty period means nothing. I could just fold the company and you'd be SOL. So at the end of the day, you either trust me to do the right thing or you don't. It doesn't actually make a difference if we have a formal warranty policy. To add insult to injury, Linus and his team released a t-shirt with the words "Trust me bro" to laugh and profit off community outcry.
You know, I'll be honest, where have we heard that before? Where, trust warranty? Where we've heard something similar. In terms of like tech channels. I mean, we had Quantum TV, like, what was the slogan? Like 100% honesty, or the number one honest channel. I think that's what it was. It's kind of hilarious when you try to set yourself up like as that. Like some of these tech channels that built their channel on equipment and the consumers, and then in the end, like in certain things, like being kind of factually incorrect, you try to claim yourself as the one you can trust. You gotta love that. You gotta love that so much.
It's important to note that a formal warranty under the same name as the t-shirt was later put in place, but that didn't erase the damage that was already done. In all of this, Hardware Unboxed was satisfied with leaving a few stern tweets about the situation, and Linus only briefly mentioned it on his podcast. However, the same could not be said for Gamers Nexus. But before we see where shit really hit the fan, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Imagine a world where the bosses bow to your command. In Dungeon Hunter 6, this dream becomes reality. Conquer over 100 unique bosses and summon them to fight by your side, ride them, or even become them. Dive into the realm of creativity, from stealthy cat missions to riding mythical creatures. Experience stunning graphics, join epic guild wars, and trade treasures. Dungeon Hunter 6 is made optimized to run on mobile devices, giving the best user experience. It's a chapter in the long-running Dungeon Hunter series that you don't want to miss. Download Dungeon Hunter 6 for free on Android and iOS using the link in the description, or if you're on PC, scan the QR code. When you use my link, you receive a special starter pack worth $50, loaded with 10 summoning scrolls, an SSR Lieutenant, Demonic Wolf, and an accessory pack. Plus, register your game account to enter the Lucky Spin event starting October 15th.
I will probably not play this game, unfortunately.
All details are in the description. Let's get back into the video. On the 14th of August 2023, Steve Burke of Gamers Nexus decided it was time to upload a 40-minute long expose video titled "The Problem with LinusTechTips: Accuracy, Ethics, and Responsibility," in which he took a deep dive into just how accurate Linus's testing really was, and what he found was beyond shocking.
First clip from an LTT lab tour caught our attention, but it itself isn't worth commenting on. We have something wider in scope we want to comment on, and it's simply that we believe LTT, or LMG, is rushing too much to hit arbitrary and largely self-imposed deadlines that are causing frequent and sometimes significant data errors and information errors. And this conflicts with the ramping marketing surrounding accuracy and data-driven objective reviews that they're pushing for from LTT Labs. So we've decided to turn off all YouTube monetization here. We will not be placing a sponsored ad in this video.
I gotta appreciate this guy for doing. I mean, to an extent, it shows that he's trying to be in good faith. That he doesn't want to make money. If I may, it seems like he doesn't want to make money off of it. Because at this point, this is a video that more so will kind of call out another tech channel. So, okay.
We were just going to report on serious concerns that we have with LTT and bring some awareness to these critical issues. We've been thinking on this for a few months now. We have a few main points of discussion for today. They span from raw data that potentially misleads consumers, even if unintentional, accidental, that counts too. And we have some ethical concerns and corporate connections that we want to talk about.
Linus
Okay.
has almost always been seen as an authoritative voice in the online tech community, and fans are more inclined to purchase a product if he recommends it. However, now that most of those recommendations were being called into question, that might not be true for much longer. Steve spent the first 5 minutes of the video discussing Linus Media Group's tendency to rush projects leading to poor quality tests and data, citing a recent interview wherein many of their employees expressed concerns about tight deadlines.
Let's publish less videos.
I wish we could back off the amount and focus on quality for a bit.
More
I mean, that makes more sense. I mean, because if you're pushing that many, so many, like, I know, I'm pausing. Sorry, and cause for those who are wondering why I'm saying that, there's been times where I pause and I give my reaction. People people have gone on me like, oh, why you just continuously pausing? It's like, because that's how I react. I pause, analyze, and discuss. But yeah, if as we go through this even further, it seems like these guys want to try to do, what's right for the consumer, instead of like making a bunch of videos and making content, or at least doing tests that may or may not be accurate. They want to lessen the videos, like lessen the content produced on the channel, and make sure that they spend more time on the initial equipment that they're working on to get better tests. That's actually noble of some of these guys that want that.
more time for projects would be good.
Just allow us more time to work on a video.
We never have time for retrospection. It's always just,
I think
that's out. What's the next thing?
Would be nice if the pace was lessened a little bit.
I think the yeah, so it's universal. I think ultimately the phrase quality not quantity really is, a factor in this, or for the main guy for this channel. Because yeah, you make a ton of content, you don't put enough, or at least you don't put a lot of time into it. So
Time to debrief or look in the rearview mirror though how things went.
I don't love that we have to release so many videos. I don't know what our current count is weekly, but I know it's
25. What did it say? 25 per week.
very
man.
high. Very rarely am I particularly proud of a video I've worked on.
The next point that Steve focused on were the numerous instances of erroneous data, log testing, and misinformation.
Even with its heavily marketed debut of Labs, LMG is still consistently making errors in nearly every single review that they publish. It is okay to make errors. All of us do this in this line of work, but the concern we have is that these types of errors are in nearly every single LTT technical or review type of video. So there are enough errors that we can't fit them all into a normal length video.
They went on to mention the error in their coverage of the NVIDIA RTX 4000 series graphics cards, bad practices during CPU cooler testing, and poor management of the errors even after a video is published. On top of all that, he also brought up points of Linus giving favorable reviews to companies he was invested in or sponsored by.
Some of the concerns include how Linus is personally invested $200,000 into Laptop Maker Framework, and yet is also covering their products and their competitors' products. LMG also has a cross-branded, again, screwdriver with Noctua, and that's being sold on their store, while they're also reviewing Noctua products favorably, even when it's shown to be hitting, by their own data, 100 degrees Celsius, which becomes problematic for brands like Noctua as well, because now it is less clear if the praise is genuine or if it is biased, whether intentional or unintentional.
What followed were ethical concerns over how terribly Linus reviewed a prototype he received from a small tech startup, Billet Labs. During their video on the Billet Labs copper cooler, Linus used a completely different graphics card from what it was originally rated for. Then they proceeded to disparage the cooler for not performing properly, despite it all being a direct result from their own mistakes.
Like, it's a cool product, but it's a bad product.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks super cool.
Are you just saying it's
People say, I
bad
don't think
just purely because of the price?
It's bad because it makes absolutely no sense and nobody should buy it. Most of the community is actually really amazing, but there's a vocal minority that looks at something like that and goes, lazy, out of touch, or whatever else. No, I'm just really experienced at this. Ooh.
Clearly not, apparently.
Crap.
Did you put it back here?
Get a
shot of that. Look at that.
Under the video, one of Billet Labs founders voiced his own concerns about how Linus conducted the review. Felix from Billet Labs here. Great video guys, but this block was specifically built for a 3090 Ti, not a 4090. We've since obtained a 4090 to test with, and using it with a 39 block leaves a gap around 1mm over the die, so it's never going to cool properly.
Now, we don't have any connection to Billet Labs, and that comment was offensive even to us, so we can't imagine how heartbroken they must have been. Linus, in order to protect his company's bottom line, was willing to potentially inflict immeasurable harm to a startup rather than spend, by his own admission, a couple $100 in someone else's time out of the $100 million company's coffers.
Yeah. To top it all off, Steve added extra information on what Linus did with the prototype after the review was complete.
Wait, was that like an ad?
Instead of returning the product as promised, Linus sold it at an auction event. It's
Are
more
you
than
kidding
safe to
me?
say that the entire video painted a very dark picture of Linus as a man that rushed projects for profit, showed bias when covering sponsored products, and improperly tested components when publishing reviews. It's worth mentioning that not all of Linus's videos displayed poor testing. However, considering the sheer volume of videos he produces, the inconsistencies become quite concerning. While mistakes in his content were forgivable, his reluctance to correct them in post-production or remove the video altogether indicates a severe lack of diligence and responsibility. Just by making this expose, Gamers Nexus was potentially putting themselves in a bad spot with larger channels as well as sponsors connected to Linus. But ultimately, the video had to be done. The video would gain over 5 million views, which opened the floodgates of criticism on Linus, the first wave of which came from the comment section. $100 million company worrying about an extra $100 for an employee to ensure the quality and accuracy should tell you all you need to know about where Linus and LMG stand. Profit to company over benefit to customer. Several years back,
oh
LTT
man,
was doing a tech quickie for a product made by a company I worked for. It was bad for a bunch of reasons. He never mentioned any of the bad sides and made up facts for glossing over the minor bad qualities. I realized at that instant where his priorities were. The way they did Billet Labs was just 30. BL should get a lawyer and sue for damages. People were understandably upset since the main selling point of their reviews is a data backing up their claims about products. Whilst a sizable portion of viewers only see it in the context of entertainment, there are still many who look into these videos for guidance on purchasing tech products, especially when the items on display like CPU coolers, monitors, and graphics cards cost hundreds if not thousands of dollars. In the hours following the Gamers Nexus video, Linus made a forum post responding to the concerns, and safe to say, it didn't help anyone. Quoting, "There won't be a big WAN show segment about this or anything. Most of what I have to say I've already said, and I've done so privately." He continued the post by addressing Steve from Gamers Nexus by claiming it didn't go through proper journalistic practices, stating that the block wasn't sold but rather auctioned off, and labeled the entire incident as a public sniping match. The remainder of the post was spent talking about how he and his team have been trying to fix their internal processes, and justified the testing error with Billet Labs to viewers by stating that it would have been impossible to test it properly. Linus made sure to ignore many of the issues that Gamers Nexus brought to light, and instead focused on more less important things. A day later, Steve made sure to respond to Linus's emotional forum post with extra context about the Billet Labs situation.
Billet Labs, with whom we'd already had contact, and we asked them the following. We said Linus's comment doesn't expressly say it, but it seems to imply that this agreement was made previously. Billet Labs said no, absolutely not, no, no, no. The only mention of any money to do with the prototype was our response to them after they said they'd auctioned it. And we basically said, you know, that was an expensive prototype. They didn't want us to share the exact dollar amount. Billet continued to explain their email. They said, quote, "I said, do you plan to reimburse us for this? And we heard nothing. We didn't get a response until your video," and Billet thanked us for it. We asked Billet when it had received that email from Linus, and they noted it arrived about 2 to 3 hours after we published our video, which would have been around the same time that Linus posted the comments on the forums. So he wrote that email and he posted, and then said they've already come to an agreement.
It seems like I mean, it's very clear that this guy seems to be dishonest in terms of, or at least to an extent, he's trying to hold up to his he's trying to hold on to what reputation he has, and is willing to like be dishonest about it.
But at the time he posted it, Billet hadn't responded to the email. And just for the record, we have the timeline of events, so I vetted them. And Linus Media Group did in fact agree to send the block back on June 30th, and they agreed again later, and then they followed up to tell Billet that they would have a tracking number soon, and then it was last seen at the auction at LTX. So today was the first time that Billet had direct contact with Linus. A comment from Linus lower in the forum reads this, quote, "Billet sent us a quote. I don't know or care how they arrived at the value. If they're good, I'm good." We asked them about this, and Billet emphasized to us that it had not sent Linus Media Group a quote. It noted that it had expressed a possible value of the block in frustration before our video went up, before this conversation began, after they learned that it had been auctioned previously, but that this wasn't any kind of quote or invoice. We asked Billet if it had anything further to share, and it said, he's emailed us. We haven't emailed back yet at the time of writing. We thank the community for the support. We stand by everything we've said publicly. Billet noted that they intend to email Linus back prior to sharing any further details, and they also spent a few minutes to express very sincere gratitude to the community And as they don't have quite as much of a platform, I'm just conveying that to you. They were extremely grateful to the support that they received from you all.
Steve had spoken out about the problems with the way Linus handled testing, reviews, and production practices. By doing so, he's made the rest of the community aware of the lapses that exist in content surrounding one of YouTube's most influential tech channels. But Steve wouldn't be the last to voice his grievances with Linus Media Group. On the 16th of August 2023, a former employee of Linus Media Group named Madison tweets that described the company's work environment as toxic and...
Oh, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. It makes the situation worse. I'm gonna say because I'm gonna say we've seen this with a lot of other channels and companies too, where already there's beginning a reputation where like there's some dishonesty, some issues, and then it makes it even worse when employees start coming out of the woodwork and saying, yeah, no, this is true. Here are the problems. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Filled with several forms of abuse. What was even more chilling were the serious criminal allegations that she presented. She began by talking about the difficulty of work she was given on a weekly basis, and claimed that since her departure, they had to hire an entire team to handle her role. Quoting, "I cannot speak on what it's like there now, but they have an entire team working on seemingly what I was expected to accomplish alone." Unquote. Reports of mistreatment by upper management, coupled with LMG's human resources failing to address these concerns, were also highlighted. "I was constantly belittled by certain members of upper management. My work was called dog shit, and I was called incompetent. When I
Are you serious?
To get help with these situations, I'd be told to quote, put on my big girl pants and be quote, more assertive." All the allegations being presented were serious in their own right, but one stands out in particular. According to Madison, she experienced unwanted adult advances by certain male colleagues, and even went to management in hopes that they would do something, but her struggles were once again swept aside. "After I came forward about being assaulted, someone accused Linus of inappropriate conduct on Twitter. He came over to my corner and started berating her, calling her insane, mentally ill, and attention seeker, and just digging into this poor woman who had felt wronged by him." It's worth noting that as of now, these are just allegations and need further verification. However, her previously anonymous Glassdoor review of LMG, coupled with references to a leaked HR meeting, shows that this wasn't the first time she was speaking out about unsuitable working conditions.
So we call this meeting because it's come to our attention that we need to have a quick chat about the best way to handle HR-related feedback and rumors. We won't be giving any names for what I hope are extraordinarily obvious reasons, but what we can do is the following guidelines for problem solving and conflict resolution. Sorry that this is all boring and corporate, but here we are. Number one, always stand up for what's right. We're only a team as long as we're all working together. That's the most important. Number two, always reflect on your own personal experiences and use your common sense. Few things in life are truly black and white. Number three, always wait to hear both sides of a story before passing your own judgment. Be cautious when you know that one side is bound by legal and ethical disclosure guidelines when the other is not. Carefully consider what it says about the character of someone who would engage in that type of gossip against someone who has no power to protect themselves. Number four, always encourage openness and transparency. If you have a problem, you need to speak up. You want to fix it.
Okay.
If you receive feedback about somebody else at this company, the first response is, have you spoken with this person? Followed closely by, you need to speak with this person. We don't solve interpersonal issues here, or really anywhere in your life if you wish to live in a drama-free zone, by engaging in water cooler politicking. So, if for any reason that individual is not comfortable approaching the person they're having a conflict with, we have a chain that they're supposed to follow.
On the same day of Madison's Twitter thread going live, Linus and key members of management released a typical apology to mitigate the community outrage, but not before hiding it behind a paywall, making it only accessible to subscribers, and eventually moving the video.
Okay, when will this video be on YouTube so we can share it with people who doesn't have Floatplane? I could publish it anytime, but I thought I'd give the FP folks a bit of early access like the good old days. Why? I mean, if it's involving your company, make it public. Don't only reserve it for a certain amount of people and then make it public for everybody else. Like, what the heck?
To YouTube after being called out for it, with commenters stating, "When will this video be on YouTube so we can show it with people who don't have Floatplane?" With Linus responding saying, "I could publish it at any time, but I thought I'd give the FP folks a bit of early access like the good old days." Unfortunately for Linus, the contents of the apology did little to nothing in terms of redeeming the company's reputation.
Yeah.
The first half of the video consisted of upper management somewhat acknowledging the glaring issues and putting measures in place to move past.
Linus is a human gas molecule. You've been telling him for years, and I've been telling him for years. Staying relevant on YouTube is hard for everyone, but we aren't fighting for survival anymore, and we don't need to run at this pace. In fact, in some ways, it's our efforts to keep doing more and keep doing better that have created our current situation. My background is in managing a pharmacy, where the small details matter a lot. And basically, I agree with the community, so I'm putting my foot down. Effective immediately, all YouTube video production is on pause. And our teams are going to be spending this entire next week focusing on long-term workflow changes to make our content better in a lasting way.
There
This
you
means
go.
For the first time in over 12 years, LTT will be missing not just one daily upload, but many. But improving to the degree that we want and need is going to take more than a week. So I'll be working with Taryn and Colton to manage our sponsor commitments and the financial hit of both this housekeeping week and a reduction in our LTT upload schedule. At least for now, while we get our house in order.
Given their current predicament, LMG had no other option but to make a very corporate response that seemed almost soulless and detached from what was actually going on. There were attempts to light the mood with fake sponsorship inserts, but as you would expect, no one was laughing. At the tail end of the video, Linus would once again speak on the matter, and this time he appeared to be
let's see
taking
how he screws it up.
And let's face it, he's gonna fail again. Hey, it's me. I'm Chief Vision Officer now, but realistically, I'm not gonna be able to hide behind my recent demotion here. I was the one at the head of the company for each and every mistake that our community has rightly brought to our attention. And once again, I made things worse by allowing myself to respond emotionally. It's honestly really hard when people take an internal process error and then they run that all the way to Linus is a thief and wants to auction someone else's intellectual property to the highest bidder, or accuses me of trying to brush something under the rug just because I do think it's important to get all the details before declaring me to be a low-down liar, straight-up piece of. We were slow shipping back the GPU that Billet Labs sent us. There's no way around it. That's our bad. But the delay in communication, the one that prompted the post that you guys just saw, it was less than 2 business days. The second that I was made aware of the situation, on the 14th, I emailed Billet Labs and I explained what happened. I even included Colton's attempt at apologizing and offering, no questions asked, full compensation for their stated value of the product, which happened on the 10th, before we were under any pressure to do so, and without Colton even bothering to check with me or Yvonne before just saying, go for it. He knows that our internal policy is to do the right thing. So, he tried, bless him. I guess his job is safe for another day. And I'm sorry, I guess I've actually gotten a little bit emotional. I
kind of feel like, I mean, with how he's talking, it just feels like he's trying to, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the word. Damage control. He's just trying to perform damage control. But I would probably have to guess that as this was happening, a lot of people were not accepting it.
Emotional here again, so I'm gonna stop there because whatever's being said about me and whatever's being said about the team should never have allowed my feelings to distract from any valid criticism of our work. My decision, for example, to not bother retesting the monoblock, that was obviously wrong, and my lame response on the forum was a huge and unnecessary blunder. I owe you guys better, and I'm sorry. For my part, first, I'm going to be working through the other members of the exec team for any crisis communication moving forward, and second, I'm going to spend my week working with the other teams to develop a system of processes that will help our company fulfill my vision of being a world-class tech media organization. I'm also going to be spending my week just refocusing, guys, on what matters most.
Okay.
Just giving you guys the best damn content that we can make. It's been over 10 years. It's been almost 15. But I still love tech. I love my team, and even though our relationship's a little rocky right now, I love this community and everything that it stands for. None of that has changed, and none of it is going to.
Linus' apology will bear a few similarities to Steve's expose video. Both videos got over 5 million views and had a very polarizing comment section. Well, this certainly takes us back to Linus' own words, quoting, "Always judge a company based on how they respond to criticism," unquote. As well as, "I don't think I've ever seen a video so full of people apologizing while claiming it's not their fault." The major difference between the two videos would come in the like to dislike ratio. As of this recording, Linus' What Do We Do Now apology video sits at around 190,000 likes to 197,000 dislikes. It was obvious that the apology was recorded and edited before Madison's Twitter post, but the timing of the upload and the fact that they were deleting comments that refer to Madison didn't help Linus Media Group's case. However,
man.
They did release a tweet stating their plans to handle the matter. "We are taking Madison's allegations seriously. We are conducting an internal assessment alongside bringing in a third-party investigator to look into the allegations. These allegations do not align with our company's ethics or the values we preach internally. We aim to provide an inclusive work environment where everyone can feel comfortable and, most importantly, safe." By now, dozens of creators had already made videos about the LMG controversy, and many more were making videos to spread awareness about Madison's thread. On the 18th of August 2023, Dexoto would publish a tweet that read, "The CEO of LinusTechTips confirmed to Dexoto the legitimacy of a leaked 2021 staff meeting following Madison Reeves' departure." Beneath it was a statement from Taryn Ton, describing a shock after being made aware of the allegations. After their 10-day break was over, LinusTechTips resumed uploading with their "Here's the Plan" video, which, as the title implies, laid out the company's new roadmap for handling error correction, video quality control, and team management.
For starters, along with our reduction in video output to get a handle on all of our new quality-focused process changes, we have officially killed the haven't missed an upload in 10 plus years mentality, and we've made it explicitly clear that if a video is not ready for prime time, we're going to stop the presses until we've had a chance to make the proper fixes. Now, that might sometimes come in the form of an on-screen correction, but there's going to be better transparency. We've created a clear rubric that defines error severity and prescribes the appropriate fix, which can range from a pinned comment to a full reshoot or even the outright cancellation of the video.
Okay.
You're going to find that linked down below. Second, we've made significant changes to project management and load balancing with a prioritization on in-person meetings to help define project scope and ensure that everyone is aligned.
While it would take time for the community to see these changes take hold, a good chunk of the community was ready and willing to give them another chance. This was reflected in the like to dislike ratio being more favorable compared to their last upload. If LinusTechTips is truly willing and ready to improve themselves, then the community will be right behind. But that improvement hasn't fully materialized yet. There were still unanswered questions with regards to Madison's case, and since management at Linus Media Groups hired a private investigator, the results may not become public. On the other hand, Linus Media Groups may be inclined to share their findings to clear their name in the public eye. Over the course of 1 month, LinusTechTips has seemingly lost most of the goodwill they once enjoyed, along with 200,000 subscribers.
Oh, damn.
That being said, it's very likely that they will be able to bounce back in terms of YouTube metrics, but their reputation will be scarred for a very long time. People aren't just going to look at their videos with the same carefree optimism after seeing so many inconsistencies and errors that have been exposed. Sponsored products will be seen through a more spectacle lens, and many may move away from relying on their recommendations entirely. This also rubs off on other tech channels, as viewers may approach videos with a more jaded mindset. The misinformation in Linus's content has probably
I wouldn't blame them
people to make purchasing decisions that they wouldn't have made otherwise given proper data. Even if Linus made good on all their promises of improved internal processes and workflow, it'll take years of consistent effort and careful consideration to avoid repeating the same mistakes that currently eroded their position online in the technology space.
Wow. So, bottom line, like, looking into all of this, we had a company, or at least a channel that started off as, you know, just, I mean, wanting to do, like, tech analysis and just consumer, I guess, if for the sake of it, consumer, or pro-consumer, I should say. And what, as time progressed, led to unfactual testing of different pieces of equipment and becoming less and less pro-consumer as the channel, with each video the channel created, as well as other issues that involved staff or employees. Oh boy. I'd be curious to see if there was any updates to this, or if this company, this group decides to actually do something about some of the issues. But who knows? Who knows? So, for now, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off of Going. Take care, and I'll see you guys next video.